Hello and welcome to Gunners Daily YouTube channel, where I'm covering all the latest Arsenal news and everything that is happening around the club. New day, new rumors. Transfer news are flying around at the moment. January transfer window has officially started. So let's not waste any time and let's get into it. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Thank you. Now really, let's start. Arsenal will be without Mohamed Toney and Takehiro Tomiyasu for this week's FA Cup clash versus Liverpool. Toney has already traveled to be with the Egypt squad for the Africa Cup of Nations, which starts on January 13th. And Tomiyasu is expected to miss the game against Liverpool too, as he is set to leave for the Asian Cup on Friday. There had been a chance the defender could play in the FA Cup and then travel, but that would not happen. So, what does this mean for Arsenal? Well, it means that we are having a big problem now, because our midfield and defense are now seriously stretched by injuries. As for defense, we are now without Jurriën Timber, Takehiro Tomiyasu and Alexander Zinchenko, who got injured before the game versus Fulham, and is still unknown for how long will he be out. And as for our midfield situation, Declan Rice, Jorginho, and soon to be back from injury Thomas Partey are our only real midfield options at the moment. The midfield is a serious problem for us. Of course, we can add Kai Havertz to this list of available players, but I would still prefer if you bring in a real midfielder this winter who can fill the hole created by the departure of Granit Xhaka. And as for our defense, the only available players at the moment are William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ben White and Jakub Kiwior. So you don't need to be a genius to guess which back four will Mikel Arteta use against Liverpool. Look, this is bad. This is seriously bad. I don't know how it came to this. I don't know how we could have gotten into this situation, because we knew that we would lose players in January due to their national obligations. And this situation could have been even worse if Thomas Partey was healthy and ready to play, because he would also go to AFCON. Instead, he will now continue to recover in London, and soon we can expect him on the pitch. I guess. I hope. Finally. Reinforcements, reinforcements, reinforcements. Immediately. Edu Gaspar, get to work. Now here's a big one. According to Spanish outlet Fichaes, Arsenal found their Ivan Toney alternative, and his name is Victor Boniface from Bayer Leverkusen. The 23-year-old striker, who is valued at £35 million by Transfermarkt, has scored 16 goals and provided 8 assists in 23 appearances this season. Boniface is likely to cost a lot more than £35 million though, with the striker leading Leverkusen's Bundesliga title charge, and it would be hard to imagine that Xabi Alonso would be willing to let his best player go in January. I don't trust these sources that much, I'm gonna be honest. Victor Boniface is an amazing player. Whenever I watched him, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And obviously, he's still really young, so his best years are in front of him. But let's get real for a moment. Do you think there's a real possibility that Arsenal could sign a player of that profile in January, when they are 4 points ahead of Bayern Munich on the league table and the club is having one of the best seasons ever? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's impossible for Arsenal to sign him, but not in January. Matter of fact, I would rather for us to sign Boniface, who in my opinion has a higher ceiling than Ivan Toney, not to mention that the Nigerian is 5 years younger. But look, like I said, I don't think this is possible, and I think this will not happen. On top of that, I imagine Bayer Leverkusen will put a record-breaking price tag on his head, especially when they know that half of Europe is interested in signing him. If it happens, great, but it won't happen. So let's move on to the next one. Arsenal are not pushing to sign Ivan Toney in January, according to Team Talk. Although there are rumors flying around for the past few months that Arsenal's main priority for January is signing Brentford's Ivan Toney, according to Team Talk, Arsenal will not be pushing for the deal this month, as they are not willing to spend around £100 million on one player. Brentford want £100 million for the forward this window, but there is now a growing likelihood he will sign a new contract with a summer release clause. I don't like this one bit. I think this Ivan Toney saga is going to turn into another Gonzalo Higuain saga. You know what I'm talking about. We've been reading stories about Arsenal's interest in Toney for the past, 2 years, something like that. Every single transfer window, these links intensify. More and more journalists are catching on the story and creating a narrative that this transfer window, Arsenal will definitely buy Ivan Toney. We've been talking so much about Ivan Toney on this channel that I don't know if there's anything that I haven't already mentioned about him. His full name is Ivan Benjamin Elijah Toney. He has 2 sisters, Gemma and Jasmine. He has 2 half-brothers. I mean, nothing against the guy, but I feel like every other day some other news outlet comes with a new and exclusive story regarding Toney's potential transfer to Arsenal. One day it is the Mirror, then the Sun, then the Evening Standard, then Metro, and so on and so on and so on. When in reality it's always the same story, over and over again. Arsenal want to sign him, but Arsenal don't want to pay £100 million. But Arsenal want to sign him, but Arsenal don't want to pay £100 million. It's driving me mad, I'm telling you. This Ivan Toney saga has the potential to turn into another Alexander Lacazette and Julian Draxler story. And then when I make a post every so often about some potential new developments surrounding Ivan Toney, you come at me in the comments, you already posted this story. Are we signing him or not? And I'm just trying to cover every single story that's out there. Every single day for you to not miss out on anything. Look, if this was Kylian Mbappe, I wouldn't mind reading about this every single day. I would be on to every possible detail and every single report out there, because that would be a game-changing transfer, record-breaking transfer. But this much hype and speculation for the 28-year-old Ivan Toney, nah, I can't take this anymore. No offense to Toney, I really like him. I think he's a great striker and he would be a good fit for our squad. But let's just get over it. Are we going to sign him or not? If we are going to sign him, then let's sign him. If not, let's just move on to our next target. End of story. Douglas Luiz has already crossed the idea of leaving Aston Villa for Arsenal this month. The Brazilian told the Sky Sports in his latest interview. I am very happy to hear the stories, but I am here at Aston Villa. My focus is totally here. I don't spend a lot of time looking at the stories, I see them, but I don't focus on that, and I'm not looking at it every day. My head is here at Aston Villa. The 25-year-old has a contract with Villa till 2026, and as time goes by, more and more sources close to the Birmingham club are saying that Douglas Luiz definitely won't be leaving Aston Villa this month. Not for Arsenal or any other club. Same thing that we talked about Ivan Toney. Years of constant links and stories connecting us to him. I think since he was a Manchester City player, there have been links of Arsenal wanting to sign him, but they ultimately refused to send any offer to Manchester City, and he decided to join Aston Villa. That's what, 4-5 years ago, something like that, I guess. You see what I'm talking about? That's why I'm losing my mind with all these journalists, sources, and everything else related to the transfer window. Same thing as with Toney. If we can sign him, great. If we can't, let's not lose our time. Because we desperately need to bring in a top quality midfielder this January. Our midfield is dreadful at the moment. Declan Rice and Jorginho. Only healthy and available midfield players Arteta currently has in his squad. Rice and Jorginho. And I'm not making this up. Check it out for yourselves. Mohamed Oneni, Afcon. Thomas Partey injured. Who else? Fabio Vieira injured. I completely forgot that guy even exists. That's it, yeah. Douglas Luiz or not, we need a midfielder this January. We urgently need a new midfielder. And I just hope Arteta and Edu understand the seriousness of this situation. And they will soon react. And finally, here are some interesting events that happened throughout the history of Arsenal on this day. In 1970, Arsenal paid £100,000 for the first time for a player, Peter Marinello. Despite his talent, he only played 38 league games for Arsenal. In 1989, Arsene Wenger made his first visit to Highbury, dropping in to watch a match while returning to Monaco from watching a game in Turkey in preparation for a European tie. Arsenal beat Tottenham 2-0, and that game launched his friendship with David Dein. And in 2007, Justin Hoyte scored the first Arsenal goal to be scored by an Englishman for Arsenal at the Emirates. And it was his only Arsenal goal. It ended Arsenal 4, Charlton 0. The other goals coming from Henry and Van Persie. And that is it for today's video. So goodness, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Once again, thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.